Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, another perspective on the matter comes up with Dimeji Fabi, who is a member of the APC. He joins us next. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Just looking through several comments making the rounds about the recent appointment. You've got President of Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, Alhaji Shetima Yorema, saying the appointments are lopsided. You also have Abubakar Sav also saying he thinks they are lopsided. You have many good people in parts of the country that you could also choose from. And so they just wonder, as much as many want the president and this government to succeed, but they are concerned about the recent appointment saying, look, that word keeps making the round, lopsided. Do you agree or disagree with them?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, and I in total disagreement with this school of thought, and then I will quickly down on view on this. First and foremost, party that Mr. President and the APC came on a mantra of change, and along the line during the campaigns, for 4 key areas were the focus of the campaign, talking about unemployment, insecurity, anti-corruption, economy. And then it behoves on Mr. President to be so conscious of who he feels that can actually work with him to deliver these goods. Again, this appointment for me meant that Mr. President has only demonstrated that he can actually walk the talk. To me, it means that Mr. President is really ready to take this country out of the woods. And because that is what I see from this appointment. I'll tell you why. Times have changed, and we just have to move with time. We've gone through this route before, where people who have been in government for so long, who have not been able to take us to where we are supposed to be, recycled. And if at this point in time, the leader of the country who feels so, who believes the responsibility falls on his table and falls on him, feels that he needs to take certain drastic decisions to get us out of the mess we find ourselves, then it's a welcome idea for me. It's a welcome situation for me. That is number one. Number two, what is lopsided in these appointments? I have not seen it. And the reason is that, number one, when you look at the key appointments that have been made in since the government came on board, I'm talking of key areas. Like inland revenue, like NMPC, like the customs. These are big tickets that this country rides on, and we have to be mindful of this. What is the value of SGF? What's the value of Chief of Staff to somebody who is in Edo? Now, Mr. President has taken the responsibility to bring someone who he believes can actually deliver the goods in the customs. Most of our revenue-generating agencies, you all agree with me that there are so many corruption issues in those areas. And how can you go to war without requisite arms to fight a war? You want to lead a country like Nigeria, you're not thinking of how you get enough resources to run the country. So all these are unacceptable. For me, I've not seen any lopsidedness in this appointment.
Well, perhaps you're not being fair then, because the people who raise it don't just raise it out of the moon. They have figures to also back what it is that they're saying. They're counting appointments in general. They say 35. Yes, they've not been able to break it down, but 35 of this, it would seem, has gone to the north already. They're asking and they're wondering if the president is not sensitive to the composition of the country, as it were.
See, I think it's high time we began to stay away from this ethnic and religious sentiment about what gets what. What we need, and I think what Nigerians are actually looking for, is competence over docility, is performance over non-performance, is good governance over bad governance. So what we need at this point is what Mr. President feels Nigeria needs at this point is what he has done. Now, we can't continue to go because we've gone through this route in the last 16 years at least. So what we need to do is to look at governance. Nigeria right now is faced with acute challenges in the area of economy, in the area of anti-corruption, in the area of security. So the task is for us now to get people who can actually drive the process.
Well, you know, I did ask Mr. AKG whether or not he was talking about ethnic groupings, and he stated very categorically that that wasn't what he was talking about. He was looking at appointments even from the states.
On what basis are the people pushing this saying it's lopsided? On what basis?
On the basis of states. Appointments from different states.
The Constitution is very clear on this, and that's why the Constitution provided for a person at least from each of the states when it comes to ministerial appointments. So every other appointment, Mr. President reserved the right to choose or to pick someone or to appoint someone who he feels comfortable with, that has the capacity to deliver. It's about capacity now. It's not about, it's not, we should run away from this. And I call this thing nauseating, how do I even put nauseating sentiment about entitlement, sense of entitlement, that we have to move away from this. It's not really helping this nation. And for me, I think the appointment so far has been very wonderful and is really forward-looking.
Well, Dimeji, I mean, are you saying then, or suggesting that all of those who are making this comment, I just reeled out the names of a few of them who have pointed out the fact that latest appointment, the SGF is from Adamawa, the Chief of Staff is from Borno, Immigration Boss is from Nasarawa, Customs Boss is from Bauchi. You think they're making a mountain out of a molehill?
For me, there is nothing wrong in this, because if the leader feels that, I'm just saying it again, if the leader feels that these are people that can help me drive the process. This man set target for himself. The party came up and campaigned to Nigerians that we are going to give you employment. We are going to sort these security issues. We are going to fight corruption.
I get that point that you made, but we're talking about many also want him to succeed. Don't forget that. That's why they voted him in the first place. But part of those are also saying, look, yes, you have no qualms, they've got no problems with him selecting the best people to work with him. But why did the Constitution talk about federal character? Why is it that they have this impression? So if this impression is out there, what do you suggest be done to address it? Are you dismissing them with a wave of hands and no, it's wrong impression they've got?
Thank you, Chamberlain. The appointment so far is under 50, if I'm correct. And there are still more appointments to come. But for me, my take on this is very simple. The appointments that have been made so far, these are key and critical appointments that you need professional, not just professional competence. You need people with integrity who can actually run these agencies. Mr. Fowler was brought to FIRS because of his professional capacity and competence to deliver. We've seen what he has done in Lagos. Again, a gentleman is being taken to customs to go and sanitize that place. If, for instance, how will the appointment of an SGF, let's ask this question, or a chief of staff to the president, how will it impact the lives of a man in Benue or in Edo? But the life of a man, a Nigerian in Edo or Benue or anywhere in Nigeria, can be impacted more by the output from customs, by the output from NNPC, by the output from inland revenue. These are the things we should look at, and that is my own take on this. So for me, Mr. President has done no wrong, and Nigerians should still wait because there are still many appointments coming. And I think now that people are raising this concern, Mr. President and his team will look at it. Even all these appointments that are made were not just made by Mr. President. He consulted, I'm sure he must have consulted widely. Even he must have consulted the party, the stakeholders, not only in APC, to make sure that these appointments come to be. So for us, I think what Mr. President is looking at is performance, is good governance, is quality service delivery, and not all these sentiments of anybody who is telling me this appointment is lopsided is only looking at is banking on this ethnic and religious sentiment. Now let me ask you this question. Everybody is always saying, I want a German to be this, I want an Igbo man to be this, I want a Muslim or a Christian to be this. Who has ever advocated for a Shango man or a farmer to be in a position? Are they not part of Nigerians? So we should leave this sentiment. We should let this sentiment lie and do what is right. Mr. President is on the right path, and Nigerians must, if we say we want change, Nigerians must let him do it.